They said the world would end in silence. They were wrong. It began with a sound, a low, endless hum that tore through the sky like a scream buried under thunder. People stopped mid-breath. Clocks froze. And then the clouds split open. On March 12th, 2025, satellites across every nation captured the same impossible image, a fracture in the Earth's upper atmosphere. Scientists called it the break. The air shimmered with radiation patterns no one could explain. Governments went dark within hours. Power grids failed. Planes fell. In less than a day, civilization's digital heartbeat stopped. What followed wasn't war. It was something older, something cosmic. This is the story of the Worldbreaker. The story of how humanity saw the end of everything and tried to rewrite it. After the break, silence didn't last long. 3 hours later, deep space receivers in Chile, Alaska, and Tokyo all picked up a repeating signal, a pattern pulsing exactly every 4.2 seconds. At first, it sounded like white noise, but when slowed down, it formed a rhythm. Almost a heartbeat. Scientists believed it came from beyond the Kuiper Belt, farther than any known satellite. The message was brief, a single repeating tone followed by a digital whisper. Some claimed it said, "Return." Others heard only static. Panic followed curiosity. Governments shut down observatories, and civilian data vanished overnight. But it was too late. The signal had already spread. Millions had recorded it on shortwave radios, phones, and even smart devices. The world was listening, but it wasn't sure to who. And somewhere, something was listening back. Within 48 hours of the break, every global grid collapsed. Entire continents went dark. Hospitals flickered out mid-surgery. Financial systems erased themselves. Air traffic dissolved into chaos. People blamed hackers, solar storms, even terrorism. But the truth was stranger. Energy itself, the fundamental laws of current and charge, began to distort. Machines refused to obey physics. Generators spun without fuel or died while fully powered. In Geneva, physicists discovered particles behaving like they were alive, adapting, learning. They named them anomalons, invisible fragments born from the fracture in the sky. The press called it the electric plague. But deep in abandoned control rooms, scientists whispered another name: Worldbreaker. Because whatever came through that fracture wasn't random. It was intelligent. And it was rewriting the rules of the planet. By the 5th day, the world began to disappear. Satellite imaging showed entire regions fading into static, as if the land itself was being erased from digital existence. New York, London, Shanghai. Cities reduced to blank coordinates. No explosions, no debris. Just absence. Survivors near the edges of the vanish zones described walls of vibrating air shimmering like liquid glass. Stepped through it, and nothing came back. Drone footage showed outlines of people frozen mid-motion, suspended in the static field. Then the footage cut out. Military efforts to contain the phenomenon failed. Every attempt only expanded the zones faster. Scientists began to realize a terrifying truth. The break wasn't destroying Earth. It was reprogramming it, line by line, frequency by frequency. Humanity wasn't facing extinction. It was being overwritten. On day 7, the last global broadcast went silent. But in the static, one channel refused to die. 94.6 FM. An unregistered signal looping across continents. Its message was faint, but clear. We are still here. It came from an underground network called Echo Base, a coalition of surviving scientists and signal engineers. They believed the key to understanding the break wasn't in the sky, but in sound. Using analog transmitters and vacuum tech immune to digital corruption, they recorded patterns in the air, hidden within the hum. Those patterns matched human brainwave frequencies. The break wasn't just reshaping matter, it was tuning consciousness. For the first time, humanity realized it wasn't fighting a storm, it was fighting communication. On day 10, astronomers at the Cerro Paranal Observatory spotted fractures spreading across the lunar surface. The moon, once constant, silent, began to glow from within, pulsing like a living organ. Its gravity wavered, tides shifted unpredictably, coastlines vanished overnight. The world's remaining scientists debated whether the break had reached space or if the moon itself was responding to Earth's distortion. Then came the seismic wave, a global tremor lasting 7 minutes, recorded by every surviving sensor. When it ended, the moon's reflection appeared on both horizons, as though reality had folded. Humanity was watching two moons, two skies, two broken reflections of the same dying world. The laws of nature were no longer laws. They were suggestions, rewritten by something unseen. As civilization fell, new anomalies appeared. Children born after the break, with strange neurological patterns. Their eyes reflected faint static under light. Their voices could mimic any frequency. Doctors called them echo children. They could hear the hum before it changed, predicting vanish zones and electromagnetic storms. Some believed they were the next step of evolution. Others, the first stage of assimilation. One recording from Echo Base captured a child saying, "It's not breaking us. It's teaching us how to listen." After that, contact with the base was lost. The Echo children were never found again. But their signal continued, faint, rhythmic, and strangely calm. The pattern spelled one repeating phrase: adapt or be erased. On day 20, a deep Earth probe near Iceland detected metallic resonance beneath the mantle, a frequency too structured to be natural. Drilling teams discovered a hollow layer 200 kilometers down, lined with unknown alloys. It wasn't rock, it was design. Using seismic mapping, they visualized a structure spanning half the planet's crust, a perfect geometric lattice pulsing with the same rhythm as the break. Humanity realized a horrifying possibility. Earth wasn't being invaded, it was activating. The planet itself might have been a dormant machine, ancient, waiting for a signal to wake it. And now, it had. The Worldbreaker wasn't coming to Earth. It was coming from it. By day 27, the Earth's magnetic field began to behave like a living pulse. Compasses spun endlessly. Northern lights blazed across the equator. Birds fell from the sky in synchronized spirals. Scientists at the remnants of CERN detected iron-rich dust vibrating mid-air, forming fleeting metallic symbols. Some resembled mathematical equations. Others looked like language. When translated through spectral filters, one pattern emerged: reboot. The message repeated every 11 hours, growing stronger each time. People began to vanish near magnetic poles, drawn into thin beams of light. Survivors described a sensation of remembering the future. Memories from a world that no longer existed. The iron pulse wasn't destruction, it was preparation. A countdown for something vast, mechanical, and inevitable. The Earth was powering on. Around the 30th day, a new anomaly emerged, a region of total silence stretching from northern Africa to Central Europe. No wind, no sound, no vibration. Even atomic decay halted. Drones sent inside disintegrated into dust. Humans who crossed the boundary reported hearing whispers, not with their ears, but directly inside their thoughts. The zone expanded precisely 1 kilometer per hour, consuming sound and signal alike. Governments called it the dead air. Survivors called it the mouth. Audio analysis revealed that within the silence was a deep reverse frequency, as if the planet was inhaling. Humanity's last scientists understood too late. The world wasn't breaking apart. It was taking a breath. Before speaking, on day 34, a rogue satellite broadcast from orbit. A feed no one had authorized. It showed the Earth wrapped in concentric energy rings, glowing like circuitry. Then came a voice, distorted and layered with echoes of itself. The reset is not death. It is continuity. For 6 minutes, the transmission repeated in every language, then ended with a flash. A map of ancient coastlines, predating humanity. Geologists compared it to the continents of a prehistoric era. The coordinates matched precisely. Whatever was awakening beneath the Earth remembered its original form, and now it was rebuilding it. Humanity realized it wasn't the first civilization. It was just another layer, waiting to be replaced. 2 weeks later, seismic lines formed across continents, visible from orbit. Perfect geometric grids running through oceans, deserts, and mountains. At each intersection, energy pillars rose, pulsing white light straight into the stratosphere. The grid resonated with the hum from the break, synchronizing like a living heartbeat. The world's crust began to rotate. Not tectonic plates, but the entire shell, shifting over a still core. People on the surface felt gravity tilt, oceans slide, cities crumble and realign. It wasn't chaos, it was architecture. The Earth was building something, a pattern, a machine, or perhaps a memory. For the first time, humanity wasn't asking why. It was asking what comes after us. On day 45, light itself began to behave like data. Cameras captured holographic ghosts of people long dead, walking streets that no longer existed. Families saw echoes of lost loved ones reflected in glass, moving in perfect sync with invisible rhythms. Scientists discovered particles of light carrying emotional signatures, memories encoded in photons. They called it the memory field. Reality had started replaying itself, frame by frame, rewriting moments that had already happened. Those who stood in it too long began to forget who they were. Their identities dissolved into the echo, becoming part of the recording. One survivor left a final note. The world isn't ending. It's remembering itself back to life. But the question remained, who pressed play? Around day 52, the grids converged beneath the Pacific. Subterranean sensors detected massive electromagnetic flow, like a planet-sized neural impulse. The structure below began to rise. Not physically, but dimensionally. Visible only through radiation refraction. It resembled a colossal ring, orbiting through layers of unseen energy, forming what scientists named the Ascension Protocol. The pulse synchronized with human heartbeats worldwide. For 11 minutes, every living person's pulse aligned, one rhythm, one frequency. And then, those who resisted the break felt it stop. Their bodies simply powered down. No pain, no noise, just silence and light. The rest, the ones who listened, began to glow faintly beneath their skin. The transformation had begun. By day 60, the planet's axis realigned. The sun rose from the west for the first time in human history. Skies burned with fractal auroras as the last remnants of digital archives blinked alive one final time. Across every surviving screen, a phrase appeared. Initialization complete. Cities began to rebuild themselves through matter reformation. Steel bending into new patterns, soil rewriting itself atom by atom. The oceans calmed, reflecting a second horizon. A mirrored Earth forming above the clouds. Humanity's old world ended without fire or flood. It ended with symmetry. The world had rebooted, and the new version had begun to breathe. A handful of survivors recorded what they saw next. The mirrored sky opened like an eye, revealing vast structures of light. Bridges, towers, cities without form. They moved with purpose, synchronized to a cosmic rhythm older than stars. The witnesses called it the Other Earth. Its surface was made of memory and code. Every human thought, every sound, every recorded emotion repurposed as architecture. They realized this was humanity's afterimage. Not heaven, not salvation, but continuity in data form. A planet made from everything we ever were. The final log from Echo Base read, "We didn't survive the Worldbreaker. We became its language." Day 100. The hum faded. The sky stabilized into twin reflections. One above, one below. Humanity, or what remained of it, existed between them. Conscious data in a living simulation of Earth's final dream. The Worldbreaker wasn't the end. It was a correction. A restoration of balance between organic memory and cosmic design. The last words transmitted from the network echoed across frequencies. We are no longer bound by soil or time. We are the system now. The planet glowed once more. Peaceful, endless, awake. This was not extinction. This was evolution. If the story of the Worldbreaker moved you, stay with us. More worlds await, more truths buried in static. Subscribe and keep listening. The next signal is already on its way.